Hey everyone, welcome in everyone back to Instructions for Humanity, Sphere of Consciousness. We are about to get into another video. Y'all, this video is going to trigger a lot of you. It's going to trigger me. It's probably going to trigger Charlie's spirit. It's probably just going to trigger the world because this thing that happened to Charlie is part of the Great Divide. It's part of the shift. It's part of the portals that have opened recently, the 99 portal. It's part of the end of an age. It's part of racial tension. It's part of the political climate. It's part of all of that. And energetically speaking, this is what we're going to talk about. This was a very esoteric assassination, and it does leave a nation divided. So we're going to get into some things that Charlie said about our reparations. Baby, we gonna get our reparations. I don't know what you talking about. Maybe about immigrants. We're just going to play a few TikToks to kind of set the stage because I did a reading yesterday and it was solely based off of his soul, right? And the soul is infinite. The soul is not in the meat suit. The soul doesn't have a skin color, a gender, anything of that nature. And so I did that, and it was very interesting because a lot of George Soros energy came up, Trump's energy came up. This thing is very esoteric. So we're going to explore that end of it. Charlie didn't really want to go into the George Soros and the deal that he was offered, but I will, because he wanted to make sure that his family was safe. But we're going to dig into that. I'm probably going to do some remote viewing to see what's going on with Trump and Mar-a-Lago. I'm hearing that I need to take a look into that as well. This changes everything. It's bigger than what I thought. 1 second. Much bigger. Much bigger. Guys, when you come in, put a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and click on all notification bells and make sure you still subscribe because y'all know how this game is. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in, beautiful sister Gail, Key Love. Welcome in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start to ground into some energies. I'm going to mute for a second. I'm going to start to get some messages, but we're going to break this thing down, guys. And I'm going to just flow. I'm not going to hold back. You know, guys, this is Act 2 of Instructions for Humanity. It's when I really just don't get, but you know what? And I just go off. I just pop off. And so I'm just going to tap into spirit and I might just pop off. That's just how it's going to go. But we're going to definitely look into the esoteric assassination. And we're going to look and probably probe Kirk. Kirk? Guys, I don't know why Kirk Franklin is coming up in here. But we're going to probe him a little bit more on his kind of personality, right? Um, yeah, yesterday we got a really good connection um with him. And so I'm hoping to get that same connection. He was definitely present within the reading yesterday. So I'm hoping that his soul does come back through so we can have a little bit more interview time with him. Um, awesome. So, okay, we're going to get started. We are going to get started, guys. Put a like on the video and all that good stuff when you come in. What I'm going to do is I am going to play just the 2 TikToks that I pulled up just so that we can kind of see his character, right? Now, it's a huge mess online because we got one group of people who's like, well, this is white on white crime. This has nothing to do with us. And, I don't really care too much about it. Then we have another group of people that are really in mourning, right? And that are really, are really, really crushed, right? And me, I'm a cosmic being, right? So I understand that right now I am currently in the avatar of a Black Aboriginal Indigenous African American woman, so to speak, right? But ultimately, I live in the spirit realm, so I don't really connect that much. I got a bird's eye view of the whole thing because the whole thing is everything is purposeful here. His personality, you're going to see as we get into this reading, you're going to see how it's opening up certain energy portals within the collective soul body. because there are things, like I said before, that we have not dealt with as a nation. We have not dealt with race. We've been putting a Band-Aid on it. And now, under this climate, under the Donald Trump administration, it provides the right climate for us to come back through and look at these large templates. What we're going to do, and I don't know if you guys have been with me on this channel, but what we're going to do, I like to go into templates, right? And so we're going to go into the race template. We might have to visit a little bit of the religious template, but all that it is a pocket of energy and sort of foundational energetic stamps in the one Akashic soul that we all share. And these things provide the template for such things to play out on the earth plane, aka slavery, aka what's happening with the immigrants and the deportation, aka Jim Crow, aka all of that. Anything you can think of that involves race, it's in a template. And if you're trying to go head for head just with the individual, you're going to miss it. You're not going to be able to get to the root of the issue. And this has been the problem with I'm going to say my humanity, right? Because I'm feeling like mother of the ages today. This has been the problem with my humanity, right? The earth children. The earth children, if we were to take a more powerful position, meaning come up in consciousness and view it from the crown chakra, we would see the energetic implants and energetic seeds that were planted by other things to keep us in a secular cycle where no one wins. Left doesn't win, right doesn't win, black doesn't win, white don't win, we don't win. I'm trying to get into a song here. But this is kind of what it feels good, being here today. And it's always cool when I can touch upon, these sort of major news stories, but really bring it into spirituality, bring it back into the sphere of consciousness. Because at the end of the day, if we don't learn the lesson, if we don't see what's in the template, then why are we even doing all of this? It's just a bunch of noise at that point. Okay, guys. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play those TikToks really quickly. Now, I need someone to let me know and make sure that you guys can hear the TikToks. I'm going to have to take my earphones off for you guys to hear that because you won't hear it this way. I really don't want to do that because okay, I will do that, but I just need a moment to sort that out. Give me just a second. I'm going to sort that out really quickly. Okay. Uno momento, guys. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to turn off my headphones. So now you guys should be hearing me from my computer speakers. So now what I'm going to do here, let's see. All right. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play and share these TikToks. Okay. 1 second. All right. Okay, so the first one I'm going to share is about reparations. Okay, hopefully, girl, hopefully I don't have a heart attack because I'm gonna get my reparations, baby. Ain't nobody gonna stop me getting my get back. Okay, so here we go. This is the first one. So someone's saying, should Black people get reparations? Please let me know if you can hear this video.
White man have to play for Black people. Why?
Wow, that's a really selfish thing you just said.
Hold on. Why should I have
a really non-empathetic thing to say?
Why should I have empathy for a race? I have white guilt because I breathe. Why should the white students here have to work harder to pay for Black kids? What is that all about?
Not every Black person has lineage connected to slaves, and every white person doesn't have lineage connected to slaves.
Yes, that's right. So since every Black person doesn't have a lineage connected to slaves, why should we generalize and say reparations for Black people?
Because there are people that are in a worse place.
So over 150 years, they didn't have any ability to make better decisions.
Ooh!
to say,
Charlie, about to get
yes,
you.
I'm going to take responsibility for your own actions.
Ooh, baby, this didn't age well.
People get reparations.
Okay. Did you guys hear that? Let me know. Let me know if you heard that. Hold on, I'm gonna go back to the comments here. You can hear it? Okay. All right, cool. Hi. You can hear it? Okay, perfect. So the first TikTok, he was talking about why black people, why he doesn't want to pay for black people's reparations, right? So we're gonna get into that, but let me play the other one, and then I'm I'm about to pop off because if y'all been on this channel, you know that I'm getting my reparations. I don't fuck all that. I don't care what Charlie talking about. Charlie, we gonna get our reparations, bro. Okay, hold on. Let me play the other one. Because these things, it's kind of harsh, right? And he's even sitting there with a demeanor, right? Some might say a little like smug sort of demeanor too. So I get why some people on social media are like, this ain't got nothing to do with me. This, and some people are actually celebrating his passing as well. I've seen a few videos like that as well. So this is all going to make sense. Guys, this is all going to make sense when we really zone out, get into those templates, when I tell you what's really happening, right? And so this esoteric assassination is just part of that. Okay, let me play the other one really quickly, and then we're gonna break these things down. Okay. Okay, this is what I'm going to do really quickly. Okay. Hope you guys are feeling well. Hi, beautiful sister Sonia. All right, we're about to share this other one really quickly. So this one I think is on immigration. This is his views on immigration, right?
Hello, Mr. Kirk. My name is Alex. A question I have for you: the Trump administration recently has been initiating deportation proceedings against lawfully present immigrants for what is clearly constitutionally protected speech. Do you think that that's consistent with our Constitution and our values as Americans?
Got it. So I wasn't sure what. So there's like five cases that you could have went with.
You must
I'm
be on
guessing
coke.
You're talking about Mahmoud Khalil and the students, right?
Mahmoud Khalil is one case, but recently student visas have been revoked at this campus and at the University of Michigan.
I'm glad they're revoked here. So yes, of course it's consistent with the Constitution because they're not U.S. citizens; they're visitors. So as a visitor, you have to be a visitor on our terms, and if you break that compact, you are returned back to your country of origin. A student visa is a conditional invitation. We're going to see who you are, how you act, and how you behave. And if you behave in a way that the government deems to be unsatisfactory, of course you're going to be returned back to your country of origin.
What I would say to that, one, the Supreme Court and our Constitution is very clear that constitutional rights apply to everyone within the United States' jurisdiction.
To a limited extent. For example, you're correct. For example, if a student on Michigan State campus has a student visa and they get charged with a crime, they get due process. You are correct. They get Fifth Amendment rights. But can they own a gun?
I think restrictions on their ownership of firearms.
Can they vote?
Constitutional. They cannot vote.
So there are restrictions on rights for visitors. So to an extent, you are correct, but it is not the same rights that we as U.S. citizens are granted. Does that make sense? There are limitations on those rights.
That makes sense, particularly in the exercise of for their speech. You would have police and ICE going up to people at protests.
Okay, guys. Okay, so you guys heard that, and I'm not even about to play the whole thing. I mean, the bottom line is that he ain't for none of it, right? Okay, so here's the thing, guys. And I hope you heard that, and I hope that my internet is not spotty. Because they be they be playing around with me when I be ready to cook, right? So okay, someone let me know if you guys hear me okay and everything before we continue on here. You guys heard that okay? Okay, cool. Awesome. Here's the thing, guys. Sorry, there's a lot going on here over here with my screen. Can you guys still hear me? Okay, the closed captions were on, but did you hear it? You heard it? Okay. All right, cool. Cool. All right. Let me put my headphones back in. We're about to break all this down. You can hear me okay. Okay, perfect. Sorry, it'd be messing up over here on my end, but apparently you guys can hear me. Okay, cool. All right. So those are his views, and they're very bold, right? Those are some very bold views, and some may even say distasteful, right? Some may even say, we ain't with none of that, right? So, okay. So that's the thing. I'm sorry, guys. I'm having a little technical difficulties, but really quickly, I'm going to take care of that really quickly. One second. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, guys. So those are his views. And at the end of the day, um, what I saw, to be honest with you, there was a lot of entitlement that I feel that Charlie has as a white man. And sometimes, I don't use that term like, I use it because like that's what it is. Like he just it just gave a lot of entitlement, right? And so these are the things that a lot of people are divided about. It's like, how can we celebrate, not celebrate, but how can we have empathy for someone who literally spoke against everything that a whole other half of the country cares about, right? And so I think yesterday the reading was more just about connecting with his soul. It wasn't really about anything specific about what he says or he does or anything, but I think today we have to talk about it because I think that this is part of the esoteric assassination, and what's being assassinated, that's what we're going to get to. There is a caricature that is being assassinated. There's also, I see in the energy field, karma. And remember what I said, when these portals open up in September, you guys have to understand it's not just moon cycles and portals, right? The portals are basically big energy centers, and they open up to now either release and receive. Well, we're also at the end of the age. So at the end of the age, all karmic debt is due. So what we're truly looking at when we zone out, when I look into the template, what we're looking at, we do have to kind of get into race in order to break this thing down from the template, because what's in the template is some of those foundational racial things that happen here, specifically in the United States, right? So the karma is due. So what we're going to see, guys, we're going to see more of this, unfortunately. We're going to see more, I'm going to just say it because I see it, more white men getting murked. And the assassination is not just on Charlie. What it is, it's on a character type. So, like I said in the last video, this bullet was meant for Trump. This is Trump's energy field that Kirk, I keep calling him Kirk. Maybe his friends call him Kirk. Yeah, I think his family and friends call him Kirk. So I'm going to call you Kirk, okay? So the thing about it is he stepped into a grown man's energy field. And what I mean is he presents, right, as very self-assured, but we got to keep in mind he's pretty young. And when he started, he was even younger. So what do you think happens in your 20s? In your 20s, you kind of do feel yourself. You kind of think that everything you say is right, right? And you may not consider other people. And what I'm saying is that when I look at everything, he entered Trump's energy field. He wants to be a politician. He looks up to him. He looks up to people like him. He looks up to the office and politics in general. Although I do feel that he wanted to do it a different way, but this was his path. And ignorantly, so this is what he's saying now. Ignorantly, I stepped into a grown man's game. Even though he's grown, but he's realizing, Trump has 50 years on him. These other people have 30, 40, 50 years on him. He didn't understand the dirtiness of the game. And this is what Kirk is saying. He truly stepped into a grown man's game. And so he also, too, he didn't understand how esoteric this was. He didn't understand how energetic this was. He didn't understand the game that he was in. That this has more to do with the unseen world. What you see there is a guide, because remember from the last reading, remember, Kirk is not attached to his spiritual body in essence. In this lifetime, he was to work on his mental plane, his mental body. So trying to get anything different from him is not in his soul contract. And so okay, so he's saying this, okay? It's like I'm filtering it through, but his energy shows up kind of here, right? So trying to get anything other than what he gave would be going against the very thing his soul came in here to do. His soul was about one thing: mastering the mental plane. He had a lot of mental health issues, a lot of autistic ways and tendencies. And did you see all that fidgeting around in that video he was doing? It kind of was looking like he was on coke or something, but because of the last reading, he does things like this. It's like these little autistic tendencies and mental things that he has, right? So this is what his energy wants us to understand about this. He's saying that he ignorantly entered into a man's game energetically. He didn't understand this was an energetic game because he's all about the mental. He didn't understand even, he's saying in hindsight, I would have been more tasteful. Not that he would hold back on his messages. What he's saying is that he didn't like his posture. And what he's talking about is my spiritual posture was not in alignment with who I was. And he almost says the heart, but remember, he's about the mental plane. I'm going to go ahead and say the heart for him because he doesn't have the capacity to remember. In the last video, he can't merge mental plane and heart together yet. He's a younger soul that has many more incarnations for his soul's journey to reach totality, right? So what he's saying is, because he stepped into a grown man's game and didn't understand how esoteric, did not understand how you have to really play the game. Okay, this is what it is. He didn't like his heart posture. So the things that he said, he meant that. He's standing 10 toes down on that. But what he's saying is how he said it and his body, more important, his body language. He said that is not good heart posture. And so when we think about heart posture, we really think about, the love of God residing in you, which for me, being a spiritual practitioner, I don't expect him to have this down because the 5 bodies of consciousness, he's only worked on one so far. So I know that the soul, it took me, 14,422 lifetimes or something to get this product of what you see here. He's a very young soul. So he doesn't like his heart posture. What he's saying is he wasn't a representation of what he says that he is, because he's a believer in Christ. He's a believer in Jesus. He's a believer in God. His heart posture, he said, if he could go back and change anything, it would be his heart posture. Not what he said, so to speak, but how he said it, he would change that. But you got to remember, he's just saying I was young. I was smart, but I was dumb because I was young. Because he's playing a physical game, a mental playing game, but he understands now it's not that. This thing is spiritual, it's multidimensional, it's energetic, and demonic is what he is saying. Okay. So I'm going to address you, Kirk, because he calls himself Kirk. I'm going to address you about you know what? It's weird because I don't even need to address the thing on the reparations, only because, guys, you have to know what's happening. We are getting our reparations. I've already seen this. Donald Trump is actually going to give Black Americans reparations. This is what part of the tariffs are for. Not because Donald Trump just loves us and wants us to have the reparations, because he has to do it. He has no choice but to do the reparations. Because, guys, what we're looking at is a portal that is opened, and the portal has the information from the last 2,150 years. This is what we're looking at. And within that, what's in that template? What's in that template? Everything has to be paid back. This is the karma. This is not just about, this is not, this has nothing to do with Kirk. Really? This has nothing to do with him. He was an energetic bystander, because he was playing a man's game and didn't understand how esoteric this thing was. But what this truly has to do is karmic retribution, the karmic portal. Like I've been saying, I've been telling you guys, come in and get cleansed of your karma, because when the portal opens, and baby, what it spits out, if you have not worked with the heart posture, if you have not cleansed and purified, then you get the boomerang effect. You get that energy that you put out boomeranging back to you. And who's up on the chopping block? Guys, I'm channeling all of this. Who's on the chopping block is white men. Who's on the chopping block? There's a KKK energy I'm picking up on. We're going to see a rise. Oh, trust me, those white supremacist groups, they're going to come back out and start protesting again. But see, this is part of the plan. It's multidimensional. We're going to break it down, because the esoteric essence in this is a multidimensional game. So Kirk, baby, I'm about to school you on the game that you didn't know that you was in. So one layer is, you know, we're looking in the template, and what it's saying is white is right. This is what's being looked at for karmic retribution, right? This is one layering. So when we look at the template, we have to go to what has happened within this country. And I have to keep it real, because I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. I know my history and I know my lineage. So to speak, what people are calling African Americans are not from Africa. That name was given to us in the 1980s, probably, I think, 1988 by Jesse Jackson. That was all a hoax to lose the paper trail on this, so to speak, group of people. And so Charlie, I'm going to school you on this, okay? This doesn't, see, the thing about it is America's so rich. It's not about you paying your tax dollars, paying reparations. We always had tariffs paying things. We never had income tax or any of that. So that's the whole thing with the tariffs. I know the tariffs are hard and it's making it hard on us buying things, but when we finally get that thing back how it was, you won't be paying taxes. You won't be paying reparations. You will be able to take more of what you earn to do what you want with it. It's a process getting there. So that, to answer your first question, no, you would not be paying reparations. And then, baby Charlie, I got to school you. And even if you did, it would still be just and right. Justin. Who's Justin? Justin. Lord, we got to bring a lot of people up in here today. It would still be just and right. And what I'm going to say is, because the whole thing is this. Do I want to go back that far? Let me make this thing clean. Let me make it clean. The African Americans are the original inhabitants of this land. And back in the 1400s, there's a book that came out before, when Christopher Columbus people, they did a pre-scan of the Americas. And when they reported back to them in Europe, they gave an account of the people that were there. And they essentially said we had Negroid features, right? We were already here. And what happened was there was a lot of hands in changing our identity. So, you could change us on paper, because before that, we were called Aboriginal, then we were called, Indian. We were called Indian for so long. And then they changed to colored, and then Negro, and then in 1980s you get African American. So this group of people that I belong to, we have been reclassified and reclassified and reclassified. But we ain't nothing but the Aboriginals of this land. There was black people on every single continent before these lands started to even form into countries. So you have to know that the land, Charlie, that you came on was already occupied. So essentially what your people did was they came here, they literally started to do side deals and treaties. See, they had something going on with the Moors, and I'm also a Moor too. My dad's a Moor, but I got to keep it real. See, the Moors were very, they was about that money. They were about commerce, right? The Moors made some sort of deal with them, with the Europeans, and at first the deal was going good, but then it turned sour. And in order something happened, something wasn't clean in the milk, and the Moors actually told some Europeans, that I ain't even going to go there. Isn't another video. I don't want to get y'all mad. but 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 nevertheless, some of the slaves were gifts from the Moors. Some African slaves were gifts from the Moors to the Europeans, because these two entities, the Black Moors and the Europeans, they were in contract together. But then it switched, and they stole the land by paperwork. By paperwork. So essentially, the Black Aboriginal people became products of this paperwork game. And it's the same thing now, guys. We're all right now, two elites are fighting. And this is why your food prices are up, the gas prices. This is why your shores is up and everything. It's all the same game that they keep playing over and over again. So you have to know that we're always stuck in the middle of two elites. Whether it's the George Soros camp, the leftists and the Trumpians and the rightists, or the Moors and the British. Guys, it's the same playbook. That's why you have to approach this thing being sovereign. And the reason why we will get the reparations is because we are the sovereign. And so at the end of the age, karmic retribution has to be paid. And in fact, Ra has returned on a solar return. So all of this activity in the sky, now, Charlie, I'm adding another layering on top of that, on top of this. Now you have to understand that we are from the cosmos. So now we're going to talk about getting to, the soul and soul contracts and all of that. We are cosmic beings. So we are not from here, we're from the stars. So essentially, Ra is returning on a solar return. And so what that means is Ra is essentially the sun, essentially the energy that keeps everything living, right, and upright. Without Ra on the solar return, this is how he's cleansing up. So either your energy that you gave out is going to boomerang back to you, or you're going to receive what was taken, because Ra is on a solar return at the end of an age. And I am part of Ra. I have Ra in my name. There are some of you watching that are part of that energetic lineage as well. And so we can speak on these things because we have the codes, right? So Charlie, this is just another lesson. This is another layering that you don't understand about, that it has to happen. And in fact, if it does not happen, a lot of death, destruction, and war will come upon the American people. I can't make it up. This is just what it is, because the ancestors from the spirit realm will not allow this to go unchecked. So that's another layer. And you have to know that karma is coming. And what is truly happening is a lot of, unfortunately, white males will be caught up in this. And in some unjust that may not have anything to do with it, but the problem becomes your lineage. That's why when I'm healing people, we got to get back to your ancestral templates, because sometimes someone comes in a session, they didn't do anything, but their ancestor 10 generations ago was a whole witch, was a whole, killing people and ravishing and all of that. This is what's in your bloodline. So as we really, guys, as Ra returns on this solar return, the energy shifts. Karma comes for some, and karmic retribution comes for others. But nevertheless, it is a cleansing and a purging out of things that are unjust. So you have to know that you don't even need to worry about if you agree with Charlie, if you agree with Trump, if you agree with, black activists or anything. That don't matter right now. It's all about what you have in your lineage, what codes inside of you are unhealed. When Ra comes back on the solar return, when the true sun comes back, it naturally cleanses and purifies, and it literally scans you. Anything that is not of the upper vibration, and that's why he's talking about that heart posture, you're going to get what you get. And this is the universal energies speaking. Okay, so this is what you have to know. There's a game of chess going on. However, he was playing checkers, is what he's saying, and the energy that I am pulling. There was a game of chess going on, and he was playing checkers. It's because remember, he's the mental plane. He's third dimensional. He didn't understand how multifaceted and multidimensional, how spiritual this thing is. It's very, very, very spiritual. So, reparations are coming, baby, whether you like it or not. And here's the thing. Everything has to be paid back. If you stole a piece of bubble gum, you got to give it back. Now we're going down to a micro level. That's the macro level. If you stole land, you got to give it back. If you were able to get free labor for over 400 years of slavery, you got to give it back. Right? If you were able to pillage and kill and feed children to alligators, then what do you think will happen next, guys? This is what happens at the end of an age. Everything has to be paid back in full. But you don't have to be a casualty of this war if you've been doing your healing work and cleansing those things out. Because we are not our body, and we're not even a past events when they're healed. And I believe everyone can come into this gnosis, and everyone can clear their karma for their ancestors. You don't have to get caught up in your ancestors' stuff. You can cleanse and purge that out. And as far as he's saying, well, why can't you pull yourself up? Well, yeah, we're going to pull ourselves up with our reparations, because all of those years where we were locked out of buying properties and building generational wealth, this group of people, like literally other groups of people, got hundreds of years of a head start of building generational wealth. And in fact, even they gave lands to Europeans who came over even in the 50s and in the early 1900s. We were still locked out, even though this is the land of the blood of our ancestors. And the ancestors are saying it's karmic retribution. That's just what it is. I can't help you with that. That's what it is. So reparations are coming. That's just what that is. So in terms of the immigrants stuff that he talks about now, because I am a true American, unless you are an indigenous person, unless you were here before the country was formed, Black Americans were here before the country were formed. Unless you are a real indigenous American, yeah, I do believe in immigration. Do I believe that I should be picking anyone up and putting people in, separating families and doing all of this crazy nonsense? No, I don't condone violence. I don't condone that, because it's not of heart posture. This is what I'm saying. If we just keep the energy of the Christ in our heart space, we can still get what it is that we need, but also we can still love others in the process. You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't necessarily what Charlie said, because those are his views. You know why I don't necessarily respect some of the things, but I can respect a person like that, because I'm a person that stands on my own views. Do you think a lot of people like what it is that I have to say? I talk about some pretty wild things, but guess what? These are my views. This is my freedom of speech. And I don't want someone taking that from me. So if I don't want someone taking my freedom of speech, then why should I want to take his, whether I agree with him or not? And see, now your ancestors are talking. Any people that feel some sort of way because you feel it was like a bubbling up of the energy, girl, in the pit of my stomach. If you feel that way when you hear certain people speak, you got to go back in and do some more work. You got more healing to do. Because the whole point, guys, at the end of the age, what you should understand is that you are not your body. And that all of these traumatic things and energy is just to weigh you down. And so, if that makes you feel a certain way, then there's more cleansing and purging that you need to do because you are still connected to the trauma. You're still connected to the lie. You're still connected to, to what they did, to us for a very long time. You're still connected. You haven't healed from that yet. We should be able to look at people like that and be like, okay, Anne. No, it's detachment. You got to start practicing detachment because this is what keeps you trapped in the matrix when you're looped up on all of these things that don't matter. Because right now, Charlie is no longer with us. So, in hindsight, did any of this matter to him? No. Guess what matters to him now? His family, his wife, his children, his legacy. These are the things that Charlie ain't thinking about these minute things. We got to zone out, right? Those are micro things that we get into because we ourselves are unhealed. We're filtering his message through an unhealed vessel. Some people do that. They filter my message through an unhealed vessel, and then they get what they get, right? They get the message that they get, right? So this thing is so multidimensional. So I think I've said that, right? But the point, what I want to let you guys know is that this was always going to happen in this season because it's the end of an age. Nothing goes unchecked at the end of an age. Karmic retribution will come. And there's a lot of Trumps. There's up to 4 different Trumps. Trump understands this. Trump is multidimensional as well. He has clones, but he also can like time jump and stuff. I know the girl that sound crazy, but I'm just saying he's playing chess. He understands. So we were always going to get to this template simply because we have to revisit race. How do you think you're going to get expansion? How do you think you're going to get to the 5D consciousness, still holding on to skin color, to your meat suit, to your space suit, complaining, oh, you got the white space suit, I got the black one. That ain't it, y'all. That ain't it. Because it's chess. It's called spiritual chess. Has nothing to do with your meat suit and the colors in the crayons that they gave you to color with. They gave you colors, your color, to color on paper to keep you stuck in color and in race in the 3D. This is checkers. Meanwhile, they're playing chess. You think they care, the upper echelon care about race when they are in contact with Nordic beings, very, very pale white. I'm talking crystallized white. And they're in contact with 9 ether beings. They're in contact with very dark galactic beings, purple beings, green beings, green beings. You think they care about you coloring? No, they give, because you're a child still. They're giving you the coloring box. Go over there and color. You don't get this game yet. You're not ready for expansion yet. So you go over there, go in that sandbox and play with the children. Essentially, that's what they're telling all of us when we get into the color and everything. And oh, your meat suit is brown, and my meat suit is white. I'm better. Mm, yeah, you're still a child playing checkers. They're playing chess. Okay, that's what you have to know. And see, guys, they know. They're not confused about the karma. They're not confused. Trump knows he has to pay the reparation. It ain't him. They have to, because They agreed to play the game of chess. They knew they had a certain amount of time on the board. And which brings me to my next point of what is truly happening. Now, don't shoot the messenger now. This is all energy. What's truly happening is we're going to see a lot of crimes against, I'm just going to say it. I think it's white males. And to be honest with you, a friend of mine channeled this about a month or so ago, and we didn't know where to place it. But you're going to see a rise of like, white skinhead groups, right? And KKK and all of that. But see, here's the thing of what we saw in that vision. Here's the thing. Half of this stuff now, here's the other layering, Mr. Kirk. Here's the other layering. Half of this stuff is going to be set up. These will not be Americans doing this. Well, we saw who they were Russians and Ukrainians. They're getting paid too from Mr. Soros. Now, here's the other layering. This is why it gets multidimensional. Here's the layering. Catch it. Charlie Kirk was playing checkers. The elite groups understood that. They appear to be on separate teams, and they are. However, all of their children play in a higher sandbox together. They could put their issues aside. You see Trump and Obama talking at these inaugurations and all of that. Aren't they supposed to be enemies? Isn't he supposed to be putting Obama in jail? But yet they're talking. So don't get confused. They're playing chess. So now I'm going to make you understand, Mr. Kirk. Mr. Kirk. And I say this respectfully to your soul. I really do. Because I truly feel he understands. He's playing checkers. Now here's the other layering, Charlie. They used you. And I'm not saying Trump used you, but I am saying that the bullet that you took was sent for Trump. And energetically, see, you thought everything you stood for, Trump did too. Trump plays the game. He knows what people want to hear. His people, the people that he can use to get things done. And so energetically, you stepped into his energy field, and then you got clipped because he's playing checkers, you're playing chess. And this is coming through so clear. And I'm not saying that Donald Trump had anything to do with this. No, not at all. But what he didn't understand is that Trump is after the cameras go off, be on the phone with some of these people. Is low-key friends with some of these people, some of these rightist people, and they are to you and they are to him. They won't show you that. So this is the game. He didn't understand what's going on underneath it all. And so now what we have is a Soros sort of energy, him and his camp, and a Trump's kind of energy, him and his camp. Charlie provided the right message and temperament for this to happen. Because what they ultimately want and have wanted for some time is a massive race riot. Race riots is what they want. And so unintentionally, on purpose, but not on purpose, maybe, he got set up. Or rather, the energy he was already in was able to be used to plug in to the greater multidimensional game that was happening. And energetically, yes, it's a Soros energy, but energetically, it's also, I'm going to also put the ownmanship too on the right as well. Because, and the reason why I say that is because someone could have told him and schooled him on how multidimensional this game truly was. But part of keeping him a bit ignorant to the whole spread of things, because they play chess, they need pieces on the board, pieces they can blame. And even if that person looks like you, yes, a white man set you up. You know, that's just what I'm seeing. And they kept you ignorant, Charlie, because should they ever need a get out of jail card, you were going to be one of them. And guess what? Because of your temperament, because of your heart posture, not a lot of people would miss you. That's what these people said in rooms. This is coming through so very clear. Okay? So very clear. Mm. Not only is this going to be what I talk about, these sleeper cells, right? This is going to bring the next wave of sleeper cells out. And part of those sleeper cells will be these little tiny pockets of hate groups popping up. They will appear to be skinheads or KKK. They're not Americans. No, no, no. They're hired players. They're hired sleeper cells, mostly coming from Russia and the Ukraine. So when you see that pop off, just know these will not be Americans. They will be hired actors on the world stage. Okay? You have to know that. Like the video, subscribe, please. Sharing is caring. So, yeah, that's what you're going to see. So the sleeper cells are going to come out. And now, what they will try to do is add some layering on top of Charlie's death. So they may hit us with a Black Death. They may even hit us with something happening to, you know, Hispanic people, something that goes wrong in the when they're deporting people, because they have to add layering, because what they truly want is the race riot, because they want the country divided, because we are part of this great divide energy that has been happening for a while, and the karmic portal is opening. So everything has to get put back in its proper position. And so the shift and the energetic climate, race is only a thing that they've been able to use over and over again. So they want to keep using that to bring division. But when they bring these divisions, right, then they're able to push through certain laws. They're able to hide more money. This is all that they're doing. They've been slowly the draining of the swamp. It's really the draining of the American wealth. So what you guys have to understand, that it's not about, it's not even about anyone having more than the other person at this moment in time, because their system, the ones playing chess, are the very people that are draining us from our wealth. And the reason why they have to do that is because the America as a corporation is no more. So what happens when you know your business is going bankrupt? You start to sell off assets. You start to liquidate things. And you take your money to the next best thing you got smoking. They are pulling out of this America. So you have to know this. And so these are the multidimensional layers. You think it's about race, but baby, when we pull this thing back, it's much bigger. Race is to feed into your traumas. We all have traumas. If you were enslaved or your people were enslaved, you have traumatic templates within you already. If your people did the enslavement, then you got, that's what they call this white guilt. That's coming from within. You can't even help it. It's in the DNA. And because the energy right at the end of the age, everything opens up to purge out. This is why we feel it on such a deep level. But they're playing chess. Guys, you have to know this. The elites are playing chess. And people like us are still playing checkers. And Charlie was playing checkers. He's a very young soul. So I'm not even, as a spiritualist, I get it. You're not going to get this thing right in one lifetime, 2 lifetimes, whatever. You're going to be an asshole. You're going to be a killer in some of your lifetimes. You're going to be the person who got killed in some of your lifetimes. It's going to happen. We're going to switch roles until you start playing spiritual chess to get yourself free from bondage and get yourself free out the matrix. You have to detach. You got to detach from you're a male, you're a female, your race, your political status. All of this stuff keeps you on the will to keep coming back here. When you stand in the I am God frequency and understand that you are the creator of all of this, that's the sovereignty. It's the key code to your ticket out of here when you stand into that sovereignty, right? So that's kind of that's what's going on. And I could probably keep going on and on with this thing, but I'm getting the message: shit in, shit out. It's not necessarily this thing is really not about Charlie. It's not. When I zone out, he was a pawn. Charlie was a pawn in the game. That's it. But what the template says, when we look into, it's really a karmic template, which has a lot of race stuff in there. So that's what I'm looking at. What it's saying is if you put shit in, you're going to get shit out. And that's what we see when we see certain things happening. We put shit in, we get shit out. Whether if it happens to white people, black people, Hispanic people, Indian people, doesn't matter, because if you don't put love in there ain't no love to get out. This is our karmic lesson from this age. Whatever you put into this template, it's what you're going to get out at the end, because at the end, the energy boomerangs back. And if your lineage, the energy that you possess, the codes, the DNA inside of you is unhealed, and it's been on the side that has pillaged and killed and robbed and all of that, it's what you get back. If your codes, if you yourself come, you have a good heart posture and you come from a lineage that tries to do the right thing even when no one's looking, all of this, then you get your get back. You get your karmic retribution during this season. And even that's on a macro scale, on a micro scale, everyone in your individual lives, you're about to get blessed. You've been putting good stuff out. The portal is open to bless you right now. And what you have to do is you have to say, give me my get back. Someone say, give me my get back. And what that means is everything I put out here in creation, all the good seeds that I have sown, the universe right now is paying that back because you already paid it forward. That's what's happening when we zone out. And addressing the Trump and Soros energy, two sides of the same coin. This is spirit talking. All of this has been spirit talking. All of it. I didn't know how cohesive these energies would be, because they're both playing chess. Opponents on the board, but nevertheless, they're in the same game of chess. Two separate. But remember, when we break down these esoteric things, what do they always have? A checkered board that's black and white. Well, Soros is playing with the black players on the chessboard. And let's say Trump is playing with the white ones. Two sides of the same coin, because they're playing the same game. Separate, yes, but they're in the same game. Charlie was playing checkers, and Charlie stepped energetically into a multidimensional game when his soul was only able to handle being three-dimensional. This is what happened to him. Okay. So that's kind of the message. I'm going to pop in here to the comments really quickly and see what you guys have to say. I love you guys. Thank you very much. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to book your own session. There'll be some links down below. Also, you can also email me instructions number 4 humanity@gmail.com. Let go, let go, let go. School is in session. What's up, Sister Carolyn? Oh, that felt good. That felt good. This all love, Do your research on Charlie. I'm not even going to do I don't need to do research because none of this matters. That's the whole point I'm trying to make. Nothing matters, guys. Do you understand what's happening? We're going galactic now. You're still holding on to your earth suit. I don't know what to tell you. I've seen enough. I've seen enough when he's talking about he ain't paying my reparations, baby. I'm gonna get my reparations. You ain't gotta worry about that. Like, but you see how I can be detached. It's not gonna make me angry because I see spiritually. I know what is due to me. I know what it is that I can call forth because I am the creator of all things. I'm not limited. That's the shift. You still playing checkers. You still worried about the 3D body. You're in checkers. We got to come up and play spiritual chess. This is what I'm trying to say. And maybe you won't understand it yet. I'm just happen to be on lifetime 14,422. You know what I mean? So I see things differently. And I'm not about to give him my energy. I know what I'm getting. I know who I am. And at the same time, I don't actually want to change him because changing him would mean somebody wants to come around and change me. And baby, ain't nobody ever going to change me. So what I want for myself, everyone should have. If you don't like listening to him, guess what? Turn the lights off. That's where we got to get to. We're not going to agree with everyone here. We're not even made to agree. Life is about one big debate. Who can debate the topic better? You don't shoot someone because they disagree. You just go back in the lab and sharpen your debating skills. You see what I'm saying? It's all love. That's the thing. When we zone out, everything is love and everything is authenticity. These are two of the highest powers of the universe. Like him or hate him, he was being authentic. Like him or hate him, he was being authentic. And that's what it is. So for me, I'm in the spirit, and that's my domain. You guys can have the earth plane. I'll stay in the spirit, and I'll keep addressing things from the spirit because at the end of the day, this is a dream state. None of this is real. You have to know that. Very serious about this. Yeah. It was someone said how dangerous and irresponsible for Kirk not to protect himself. Yep, and his family. That part that part sucks because at the end of the day, this is a job. When I turn this YouTube off, I got to go and be with my family and I'm just a normal person, right? In society. It's the same thing. That was irresponsible because I'm pretty sure someone has told him to watch himself. For me, I'm not going on campus with all these crazy kids. I'm not. That's for me, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And I feel like that was probably already spoken to him that he needed to kind of come off of the road doing that stuff. But you have to understand, guys. You got to understand he wasn't multidimensional. And that's he it just wasn't in his soul contract to think that multifaceted. It wasn't. He was just very 3D. That is what he was working on in this lifetime. So he didn't see it from all those angles or he saw it, but to be honest with you, what he's saying is he's going back to heart posture. His heart posture that the kind of ego consciousness took over. Because when you're in the 3D, you have the ego. You can't actually be good at being a 3D person without an ego. So essentially what he's saying, his ego kind of took over and at times he felt untouchable even though he knew he could be touched, but he felt untouchable at times. And this is just the things that our soul has to learn. It takes time. And sometimes we die, guys, in lifetimes, and we like, man, that was a silly way to die. You know what I mean? Sometimes we just kick ourselves for how we died. We're like, why did I die like that? That was a silly way to die, you know? But, you know, nevertheless, it happens. It's how we learn as souls, you know? Give me my get back. Yes, give me my reparations, girl. Give my check. I'm serious. I'm laughing about it, but I'm real serious. I want my check. so so yeah, that's that. And yeah, so I don't know. I just I'm not gonna get into I see people with videos and they're like, oh, thank God, you know, he died. And yeah, I just explained it, spiritually speaking, energetically, right? Through channeling the energy. Yes, there's karma involved, but not necessarily like Charlie is he was just a bystander in the energy field of the elites, of the elites, of the elites, right? So when I look at and feel the energy, this truly doesn't have anything to do with him. It really truly doesn't. It's a much bigger game. This is a cosmic game with the end of the age portal. You guys, you guys, I'm mother of the ages. I know what I'm talking about. You won't leave this age without paying back what you took. It's just like Charlie in the chocolate factory. Whoop, whoop. See, Charlie, he had to give back that candy that he took when he was in the chocolate factory, looking at all them big gummy bears and chocolate waterfalls, and he took a little piece of candy and at the end he gave it back. That's what I'm saying. Look how good Charlie was, but he didn't get the world didn't open up to him, and him and his family didn't get blessed until he gave it back. It's what I'm saying, y'all. Y'all don't believe that fat meat is greasy. That's an old little saying, Black American saying. Your mama would say, "Oh, you don't believe that fat meat is greasy." What that means is that, oh, you don't believe what I'm saying is true, but you're about to find out. Go out in the world, you're going to find out that fat meat is greasy, right? So you got to give it back. Whatever you took, and this is on a macro scale and a micro scale, whatever you took, you got to give it back because all debts are due at the end of an age. It's just what it is. It's just what it is. And even in terms of race and racial tensions and the things that happen to certain groups of people and yeah, it everything that everything that someone put out to the children of the past that were hurt by these things will all boomerang back. And so then now in the next age, those people that are unhealed, they will experience the same energy because at the end of the day, what happens? We have to experience both the polarities. Once we experience both, we learn the lessons for both. We meet in the middle and then we transcend that duality focal point. This is the only way to expand to higher realms of consciousness and to be on a higher dimensional plane. It is the only way to do it. So in truth, it really doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat, you're rightist or leftist, because in your soul's lifetimes, you will have to experience both. You won't get out of the matrix until, in fact, you experience all things. And you're going to play some terrible roles here. You're going to play more, you're going to be way worse than what Charlie said. There's been some people have been, it just gets bad. You do the math. You do the math. We're going to play these roles, but we're going to learn in the end. So this is where my soul likes to take this sort of position. Let's learn from the entire age, not just the event. We look at the event and then we zone out to the multidimensional facet of it all. Okay. I really did not get into that much of Trump and George Soros like I thought that this would be, but it felt that Charlie's energy was still here a little bit. And so I definitely wanted to hold space for that. And then maybe in the next video, I'll get to Trump and George Soros. And they're kind of this fight that these two elites are having, and how we do not have to get caught in the middle, and how we can gain our sovereignty now. And the trick is you got to get out of their sandbox. You got to reject the crayons and coloring book they gave you. Start playing spiritual chess. Okay? All right, guys. I think that's it. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I love you guys. I love you. I love you. And so it is as we walk together in divine love. Be well. Be well, guys. Bye. Bye.